I never thought I'd be the kind of guy whose life flips upside down because of his own marriage. But here I am, sitting in an empty apartment, the silence louder than any argument we ever had. My name's Jason, I'm 34, and for the past 8 years, I thought I had everything figured out. A decent job in marketing, a loving wife named Emily, and a life that was steady enough to plan on forever. Emily and I met in college. She was radiant, smart, ambitious, and stunning in a way that could silence any room. We clicked immediately, like two halves finally finding their whole. Our early days were full of laughter, late-night talks, dreams about the future, and promises we both believed in. After 5 years together, we got married. Life was good. Or at least that's what I told myself. Slowly, things began to change. Emily started working longer hours, staying later at the office. She became distant, distracted, not the woman I married. I brushed it off, thinking it was just stress or burnout. I tried to be supportive, cooking dinner, surprising her with little gifts, planning date nights. But it was like chasing a ghost. No matter what I did, the warmth between us faded. Then came the signs I ignored for too long. Her phone would buzz with messages late at night. She guarded it like a treasure, and her smile would falter whenever I asked who was texting. I told myself I was being paranoid, but a cold knot in my stomach told me otherwise. One evening, I came home early from work, hoping to surprise her. The moment I walked in, I sensed something was off. Emily wasn't alone. Sitting on our couch was a man, confident, dressed sharp, oozing the kind of wealth that made my modest life look dull in comparison. Her face turned pale as she realized I was there. I wanted to ask who he was, but the words stuck in my throat. Then I heard the truth that shattered everything. "Jason, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I've met someone else." I felt my world collapse. Betrayed, humiliated, and numb. But what she didn't know was that this man, her new boyfriend, was about to discover that my family had power far beyond anything he could imagine. My dad isn't just a businessman. He runs a $5 billion empire. A company that controls thousands of jobs and partnerships worldwide. I kept that part of my life separate, wanting Emily to love me for me, not my last name. But now, with her running off to flaunt her new life, I realized it was time to remind everyone exactly who I was. I sat in stunned silence for a moment. The image of Emily and that man burned into my mind. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a challenge. A test to see how far I'd let her go. But deep down, I knew I wasn't the powerless fool she wanted me to be. The next morning, I called my dad. He wasn't the kind of man to get involved in petty personal matters, but I told him what had happened. His voice was calm, controlled. The kind that could freeze a room without raising it. "Let me handle it," he said simply. Days later, I arranged a chance meeting between her new boyfriend and one of my father's top executives at a business conference downtown. I watched from across the room as the man's confident smile faltered when he realized who he was dealing with. Word got out quickly. Emily's boyfriend, once so cocky, started receiving unexpected calls from investors and partners reconsidering their relationships. His deals stalled. His business reputation began to crumble like a house of cards. Emily called me in a panic, begging to meet. "Jason, please. I made a mistake. I want to fix this," she pleaded. But the man she chose was already drowning, and she was left to face the consequences. I told her I wasn't the same man she left behind. I wasn't here to forgive easily or pretend nothing happened. She had underestimated my world, thinking it was just a small part of me. At work, people started noticing the change too. I held myself differently. I was no longer just the quiet guy in marketing. I was someone with backing, power, and a plan. And Emily? She was the one looking for answers she didn't deserve. I wasn't cruel. I didn't humiliate her publicly. Instead, I let my father's empire do the talking, and it spoke loudly enough. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is watching someone lose everything because they never knew who they were messing with. Now, months later, Emily's moved out of the city. The man she left me for vanished from the business world. And me? I'm rebuilding my life on my own terms, stronger, wiser, and finally free. Sometimes, the people who think they're winning are just setting themselves up for the fall. And when I saw her, I knew my time had come. After Emily left, I had a lot of time to reflect. I realized I had spent years trying to please someone who never truly appreciated me. I had been quiet about my family background, hiding my privilege because I wanted our love to be real, not influenced by money or status. But in the end, it didn't matter. She chose someone else, someone she thought was better, without knowing the full story. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal, it was the silence that followed. The empty house, the cold nights, the unanswered questions. But I found strength in those moments. I focused on myself and my work, and slowly I built back the confidence I thought was lost. My dad's support was unexpected but powerful. He never boasted about our company or flaunted our wealth, but when it mattered, he made sure justice was served. I learned that true power doesn't come from money alone. It comes from knowing your worth and standing your ground. One day, I ran into Emily at a charity event. She looked different. Tired, perhaps a little regretful. Our eyes met, and for a second, the past flashed between us. But I was no longer the same man. I nodded politely and walked away. That moment was closure for me. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't broken. I was free. People often ask if I regret keeping my family life private. I don't. Love should be honest, not a game of status or wealth. But now, I'm more careful about who I trust. If there's one thing I want anyone listening to take away, it's this. Never underestimate yourself, and never let someone else's choices define your value. Life has a way of revealing the truth. Sometimes painfully, sometimes quietly, but always in time. Emily's story is over. Mine is just beginning.